Photo Shelter presents Vision Slightly Blurred. I'm Alan Murabayashi.
And I'm Sarah Jacobs.
We are recording live from Photoville 2019 here at the beautiful Brooklyn Bridge Park in a village built from shipping containers. And in one of those containers, an exhibit called Parallax from Authority Collective. And the curators of that show are here today. Tara Pixley and Mengwen Cao, welcome. You just came from another panel talking about stuff.
Yes, talking about the exhibit, talking about kind of the idea of revisioning, reimagining queerness and people of specifically queer people of color in photography and using portraiture, which is what Parallax is about.
So Authority Collective, can you describe what it is and why it came into being?
Originally, Authority Collective came out of a November 2017 kind of day-long meeting of women and non-binary people of color who work in visual media. So a lot of photographers and filmmakers. We were noticing that a lot of us are having the same experiences that were not so great. And we also were lacking community. So why don't we come together as an actual kind of group that provides resources for each other and helps bring up the next kind of generation of visual media makers.
The media does a good job of covering discrimination against women in the workplace, etc. What are examples of what a non-binary person or a person of color, what are those examples that you're seeing in the editorial world or other parts of photography?
I think first of all, there's just not a lot of us. At least that's how media made it seem like. I was a freelance photographer in Austin first, and I remember at that time going to a lot of like shooting music festivals or shooting events and shooting like political things. I'm one of the few people of color, women or non-binary folks there. And when I show up with other people, I'm always ignored or considered to be like an assistant.
Actually, I was talking to one of our other board members earlier today, about an hour ago, and we were talking about how oftentimes people just don't even kind of see you. And she said, has anyone ever sat on you? And I was kind of like, what? But then in this conversation, she's relaying that this is a thing that has happened to her and happened to other people, that like you just literally are not seen, aren't recognized as existing and valid and worthy of the bare level of respect to just not be sat on.
Do you see the role of trying to get more representation and recognition for women, people of color, and non-binary people? Is it so that you are the people that photograph those types of stories, or is it just because you don't even see me? I'm just trying to photograph a music festival. What would be the end goal, or what would be a good outcome for women photograph? For Authority Collective 5 years from now?
It's okay. We love women photograph.
I think it's not trying to put us in opposition with other people. It's really trying to put more diverse voices behind camera so that we can bring diverse perspective into different stories. We also want to kind of let people know that we're capable of shooting all kinds of things. We're not only capable of shooting like POC stories or women's stories. I love photographing my own community, but at the same time, I'm also professional, so I'm able to photograph other things too.
Last year, you guys released the Lit List, which was an amazing list of talent. I have used it as a resource as a photo editor to hire. It's a great list. Can you talk about the creation of that and what went into choosing the people that got on the list?
I want to shout out Oriana Koren because they were instrumental in bringing that to fruition. The Lit List was conceived out of this recognition that we actually don't get a lot of recognition, that we're frequently relegated, and by we I mean women of color and non-binary genderqueer people of color. There's a plethora of people around the world who are doing incredible work in photography and don't have the same access to resources and recognition and awards and things like that, networks, sometimes education, which can often give you the access that you need to kind of elevate your work and your voice. And so we wanted to provide that platform. So we had a lot of big milestones with the photographers who won this award.
We should point out that Meng is a PDN 30.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
But I think I also first got into the list. I actually joined Authority Collective after that, and I was really honored. That was my first kind of award that I didn't even expect to. And I do have photo editors reach out to me later saying that they saw my work from the list. So thank you, Lit List.
To circle back to the question that was asked earlier of, whether or not we are saying that only people of color should photograph people of color, only women, definitely not saying that. This is a question we get asked a lot when we do panels and talks and just one-on-one talking with people. What we're fighting for is a diversity of perspectives at all times. Robert Frank was an outsider, and he made the series on the Americans because he had such an intriguing outsider view.
I want to play the role of the middle-aged cisgender male. If we rewind 10 years ago, the acronym is LGBT. Mm-hmm. And then it's LGBTQ, and then it's LGBTQIA, and then we have women photograph, but then we have authority collective, and then we have native. But do we think that the general audience has the mental capacity and bandwidth and patience in some ways to say, okay, there's now 20 different genders that we have to contend with, and so here's another list for this, Is there a practical limit to that?
Well, luckily, I don't live my life based off of whether other people have bandwidth for my existence. So, I think that what you're bringing up is a really important question. And it's something that we think about, actually, like the sort of diversity fatigue. We were talking about that in the last couple of days. I get it. But we have to fight against that, because where that's coming from is this sense that, why do I have to keep thinking about these things? Well, we have to think about it every day of our lives. And also, we're not like, it isn't really this kind of cut up like, this group needs a group and this group needs a group. We're doing different things. Some of the groups are databases. Some of the groups we're really thinking about ourselves, Authority Collective, as more specifically interventionist. We identify particular issues. We try to bring attention to those issues and then try to reach out to the organizations or the individuals that we feel are being problematic or like maybe not thinking through how what they're doing and what they're saying is really detrimental to particular groups of people. Something that I think people don't always think about is if you're already in a marginalized position where you're going into a space, no one looks like you and no one has mentored you and told you like this is what you need to be concerned with. If you're not able to pay for the memberships of, NPPA and ASMP and all of these like big photo organizations that tell you how to do contracts and stuff like that, you're walking in unaware, essentially. And so to now have a community like Authority Collective where you can get on the Slack and say, hey, I got sent this contract, that is really essential, I think, to what we do. And that's what we want to build this community for, is to make people feel like, I kind of hate the term feel safe, but feel surrounded and engaged and seen. Our culture tends to tell men, especially white men, and cis hetero white men as they grow up through life, that everything you're doing is fine. And like mediocrity is like a level that is like you can achieve a lot of things, whereas like you can be excellent as a woman of color and people are still going to question everything you do. So you're constantly striving to just be so much better than many other people, many of your peers have to be.
Do you find it legitimizing that an organization like PDN, which back in the day was what we've described, like this white, almost like imperialist kind of publication within the photo industry, but does it feel legitimizing that you are now PDN 30 and that when somebody sees that alongside your CV, that they go, okay, we can trust this hire because Meng was PDN 30? I
think what really matters is still my work.
Yeah.
Like all these awards are great, but ultimately, the reason people would hire me to shoot anything is because my work fit.
Yeah, the work just should speak for itself. Yeah. It's like no one is advocating to put mediocre photographers forward just because they're diverse. We're advocating for you to let awesome photographers do their job.
Tell us the website and the Instagram account for Authority Collective.
It is authoritycollective.org and at Authority Collective.
And your personal websites and Instagrams?
At TLPix and tarapixley.com.
Mengwencao.com and Mengwen Cao.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a really insightful conversation, and we love the stuff that you're doing with Authority Collective and the Parallax exhibit.
Thank you so much
Come
for
check
having
it
us.
out.